Hello everyone, welcome to Everyday Essential series of Shantha Lakshmi IAS Academy. So today let's discuss the prelims based topics from 30 and the 31st August 2025. So our first topic today is DPT Biocare Program, and second topic is Indian Ocean Naval Symposium, and third Adivani Translator app, and fourth Lip Lake Pass, and finally South Sudan African country. So first topic, that is the DBT Biocare program. So why we are discussing this? See, this is an initiative of the Department of Biotechnology and which will support the unemployed women scientists. Women scientists. But the report has said that one alarming revelation of this Biocare program is that it has been almost 5 months. 5 months, the 75 women scientists were chosen for this Biocare program. In spite of this selection of this women scientists for this program, and after being these 5 months, the women scientist has not got their funds or the salaries. Funds or the salaries under this DBT Biocare program. So we'll see about this DBT Biocare program in detail. So this Biocare stands for the Biotechnology Career Advancement and Reorientation Program. The name itself tells us the Biotechnology Career Advancement. It helps to support the career of the women scientist, and it is a special scheme of the Department of Biotechnology under the Ministry of Science and Technology. This Biocare program was launched in 2011. So what is the purpose of this Biocare program? That is to encourage the participation of women researchers in India towards the research in the biotechnology and the allied areas. So the main aim or the purpose or the objective of this Biocare program is to encourage the participation of the women scientists, particularly in the areas of biotechnology and the allied areas research. Once the duration of this Biocare program for a women scientist is 3 years. So the scientist, whoever has been selected under this Biocare program, will be encouraged or will be funded for 3 years. So coming to the subject areas of research, it is totally biotechnology, right? In that allied areas and the other diverse sectors are animal and the marine biotechnology are the allied areas, bioengineering and the biomaterials or the allied areas, and the medical biotechnology and its allied areas, and also the environmental biotechnology and bioenergy and the allied areas, and also the plant and agriculture biotechnology or the allied areas. So under these 5 areas of subject, whoever the women scientists are interested, so those will be encouraged under this Biocare program. Coming to the eligibility criteria, only the Indian female researchers are eligible to get support under this Biocare program, and the applicant should be up to or below the 55 years of age. And the women must have completed PhD in any discipline of life sciences or allied areas or the interdisciplinary sciences, MD, MDS or veterinary science also. And this is the category 1. And there is also second category, the women who have completed their MTech in the biotechnology or in allied areas or the M.Pharma or the equivalent degree holders are eligible to get supported under this Biocare program. So the candidates who are not eligible to receive support under this Biocare program are the candidates whoever are in regular or the permanent employment. The women already have a regular employment or the permanent employment, they are not eligible to get into this Biocare program. But the women scientists who are in the temporary employment or in a contractual basis, so they can be eligible to get this support under this Biocare program. Coming to our second topic, that is the Indian Ocean Naval Symposium. So why we are discussing this? So recently, that is from August 27 to 28, the Emerging Leaders panel discussion under this Indian Ocean Naval Symposium was successfully held at the Southern Naval Command, which saw the participation from 19 countries. So let's see what is this Indian Ocean Naval Symposium. So it is a voluntary initiative of the Indian Navy. It is a voluntary initiative by the Indian Navy. So what is the objective of this initiative? It is to increase the maritime cooperation among the navies of the littoral states of the Indian Ocean region. So what is this littoral states means? Littoral states means the nations which are having the high tide and the low tide in their states. And its inaugural session was happened in New Delhi in 2008. Its members include 25 members which are grouped into 4 groups. Those are the South Asian members, West Asian countries, East African countries, and the Southeast Asian and the Australian countries. Along with the 25 members, this Indian Ocean Naval Symposium also has this 9 observers. And for a state or the nation to become a member of this Indian Ocean Naval Symposium, there is a eligibility criteria. That is, the nation should have a permanent territory or border with the Indian Ocean. Permanent territory or the border with the Indian Ocean, and that nation should maintain a navy or a maritime agency. So this is the eligibility criteria for a member to get into this Indian Ocean Naval Symposium. So the chairman is rotated for every 2 years, and now currently India is the chairman, that is for 2025 to 2027. So that's why this India has held this emerging leaders panel discussion at the Southern Naval Command on from this August 27 to August 28. And under this discussion, there are so many discussions and debates have been held to increase the naval or the Navy's capabilities and other strategic capabilities and the cooperation among the 25 members as well as the 9 observers. And now next coming to our third topic, that is the Adivani translator. So this is a translator based app, AI based translator app. So in a landmark step towards inclusive empowerment and preservation of India's rich linguistic diversity, the Ministry of Tribal Affairs is releasing this beta version of Adivani, which is India's first AI powered translator for tribal languages on this Monday, that is on 1st September 2025, as part of the Adi Karma Yogi initiatives. So we have dealt with this Adi Karma Yogi initiative in our last Everyday Essential series. So it is a decentralized governance capacity building program for ensuring the empathetic and the tribal governance, people-centric tribal governance. So as part of this Adi Karma Yogi initiative, the Ministry of Tribal Affairs is going to test this Adi Vani translator, which is an AI based tool. And see here, it is said that beta version. So what is this beta version of Adivadi means? See, for any app, it includes the alpha and the beta version. So alpha version means the app is partially completed or not completed, and that is in the process of the completion stage only, that is not yet released, that app is not yet released. But here in the beta version, yes, the app is completed and released, the app is completed and released, but it will test whether it has some bugs or any further codings. So this is the beta version, where it will only accept that yes, it has been developed, the app has been developed, but it has some bugs which needs to be fixed. So that bugs will be fixed by releasing it on a pilot stage by testing. So this is the beta version. So by launching this or releasing this Adivani, this Adi Karma Yogi program, the Ministry of Tribal Affairs is going to check how this Adivani is going to perform. So this Adivani is developed under the banner of the Janjatiya Gauravar, which is a movement of this tribal schemes, and it is developed by the IIT Delhi with Bits Pilani and the Indian Institutes of Information and Technology of Hyderabad and the Naya Raipur in collaboration with the Tribal Research Institutes. So what is this Adivani? So Adivani is a AI based translation tool. AI based translation tool. It will translate whether the text or speech from different languages, that is from Hindi to tribal languages, from English to tribal languages, and tribal languages to English or Hindi also, vice versa. So now in this pilot project, only some languages have been included in this, some tribal languages have been included in this Adivani app. Those are the Santali from Odisha, Bili from Madhya Pradesh, Mundhari from Jharkhand, and the Gondi from Chhattisgarh. So these four tribal languages are now initially included. And in the future, it is going to add more tribal languages also. So this Adivani will translate these languages of tribal languages from these states into English or Hindi, and vice versa also. It will translate from English and Hindi into these tribal languages also. Coming to the services of this Adivani. So this Adivani application will enable the real-time translation, whether it is a text or a speech, between Hindi and English and other tribal languages also. It provides interactive language learning for students and the early learners. So what is the purpose of this translation? What happens if this translation happens? See that the tribal people are there, they only know this Santali language of Odisha. But they have to learn, right? The learning material is English. So they face the difficulties of learning this English. So that's where this Adivani becomes their teacher and their facilitators. Why? How? By translating that English into their native language, that is to Santali. That's how it also provides interactive language learning for the students and the early learners. Not only that, it will also digitally preserve the folklore, oral traditions, and the cultural heritage of the tribal population. So that's why it supports the digital literacy. It will help in knowing how to use the electronic appliances and the healthcare communication also, and civic inclusion in the tribal communities. Not only this, it will also provide awareness on government schemes and important speeches through these translations. So by providing all the information of these government schemes and the important leader speeches on their native or the mother tongue, so that the tribal people will also get to know what outside is going on and what are the other government schemes are available for them, so that they get empowered. So this is the Adivani app, translator app, India's first AI power translator app for tribal languages. Coming to a fourth topic, that is the Lipu Lake Pass. See, India and China have been decided to build a road connectivity in this through this Lipu Lake Pass, India and China. But regarding that, the Prime Minister of Nepal, who is this KP Sharma Oli, raised objection over this India-China deal to build a road through this Lipu Lake. And he raised this objection with the Chinese President Xi Jinping in this Tianjin, where the SEO summit is going to happen today. So why Nepal Prime Minister has objected? Because it is Indian past, right? This Lipu Lake is presented in the Uttarakhand and it is a Indian state, right? Why this Nepal Prime Minister has objected? Because see, the Nepal has been saying that these three areas, that is the Limpiadura, Kalapani, and Lipu Lake. Limpiadura, Kalapani, and Lipu Lake. These are present in the Indian territories. But what they're saying is that these three areas belong to Nepal. They are saying that from 2022. They say that as per the Treaty of Saguali, Treaty of Sagwali, which was signed in 1816 by the British East India Company and the Nepalese king. So, under this Treaty of Sagwali, they said that what at the east of the Kali River, the east of the Kali River belongs to Nepal. So now Nepal is saying that this Limpiadura, Kalapani and Lipu Lake are situated on the east of the Kali River, which is known as Mahakali in the Nepal. So these areas belong to us only. But India rejected those Nepal claims. So we'll see about this Lip Lake Pass now. So it is a high altitude mountain pass which is situated above the 17,000 feet and is situated on the Kumaon range of Uttarakhand state. And it is a tri-junction between India, Nepal and the Tibetan Autonomous Region of China. And from here only, the first India border post was opened for trade with China in 1992. And this Lipulek Pass is the shortest route to the Kailash Manasarovar Yatra. So this Kailash Manasarovar Yatra is also in use because after 5 or 6 years, this was recently opened for this Yatra. After this border disputes with China regarding the Galwan clashes in 2020, now we have opened this Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. So this year Kailash Mansarovar Yatra and Liplik Pass are very important for any exam. And coming to final topic, that is the South Sudan. So here you can locate the South Sudan in this map, African map, and it is a landlocked country of East Africa. And since prior to 2011, it was once a part of the Sudan. We discussed Sudan in our yesterday everyday essentials. And on 9th July 2011, it became independent from the Sudan. It parted from the Sudan and became an independent nation in the name of South Sudan. Its capital is Juba. Its rivers include Nile River, White Nile, Mountain Nile, Sobat and the Bahr al Ghazal. Coming to the boundaries or the borders of this South Sudan, it is bordered by Sudan on its north, Ethiopia on its east, and the next north Kenya in the southeast, Uganda on its south, Democratic Republic of Congo on its southwest, and the Central African Republic on its west. So that's all for today. Thank you.